Hello everybody, I'm Tilly Douglas, and today I wanted to show you how I clean this old vintage sock knitting machine and clean it and then re-oil it. And I use this Singer sewing machine oil and it seems to work just fine, so that's what I used to clean it, to oil it with. Now I bought this machine and it was in a terrible state and wasn't working at all, so I made some videos of how I got it all sorted and back to working order, and it works beautifully now. So go and have a look at the videos if you're interested in those. I'll leave the links to those below, but for today I'm going to show you how I clean this old vintage machine. And the first thing we need to do is to take off this guide here. This is to hold the needles in. Now a lot of the machines will have a spring around here, but this one's got this little clamp. And then take all the needles out. Now I have made a video on how I cleaned the needles because I had to save some of the needles and rescue them because they was in a bit of a state, but I've managed to save enough to be able to use it. So I'll also leave the video for that in the description below. I'll just take all the needles out, and then we'll take the cylinder out. One left. There. And now underneath here you'll see the two screws which hold the cylinder in. So we're just going to take those screws out and take the cylinder out. Now before you start doing your machine, I'd really advise you to take photos of every single part and where they go, because you might think you remember, but come to replace them all when you've taken it all apart, and you might just struggle to remember a certain part. You may not, you may just do it absolutely fine, but I always think there's no harm in taking some detailed photos to give you a little prompt, little reminder. So that then just lifts up and we put that to one side. And then I'm going to take out these parts are what lift the needles as the needles go around. So I'm just going to take those out. So the first part is this little wing nut here. So we take that off. This is the tension. So make sure you hold it on the inside because it can drop out. It will come out that side. So you take the wing nut off. As you're taking it apart, just keep all the bits that belong to each section together, because it makes it so much easier when you come to put it back together. So push that through there and put it with your wing nut. And then the next part we're going to take out are these two bits here that lift the needles as you're going round. So we're just going to take those two bits out, and again hold on to it at the back so it doesn't drop out. Just undo the two screws. Screwdrivers are just a little bit big. I'll use my smaller one. Make sure it doesn't drop through the other side. Just hold on to it at the back. It's quite a simple job to do these machines really, and once you've done it once you'll be absolutely fine. And then just hold on to it at the back and push that through, and it's a two-part piece, So make sure you get hold of both the parts. And as you can see, there's plenty of grease on those, plenty of oil on those already. So I'm going to clean, but it has got a quite black, and they do get like that, they do get quite black. So just need a bit of a clean every now and again to keep them running nice and smoothly. So that's that one, and we'll do the next one. So exactly the same. Hold on to it at the back so it doesn't drop out, and remember to cut both parts. That one's hidden under there. Sometimes it's easier to do it with your fingers once you've got it working. And then push that through. Make sure you get hold of both those parts at the back. And remember which way they go in. So this part sits like that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lift that up. There might be a bit of a suction because as you've oiled it underneath, it will create a little bit of suction under there. And as you can see under there, it's all nicely greased, but it has got a bit black with use. So you just wipe away all that old oil. See how black that's got? That was all nice and clean. So they do get quite mucky, these machines, and it's all perfectly normal. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your machine, but they do need a bit of TLC, and that's all you need to do, is just give it a good old wipe around. Now if it's really bad, a really good product to use is this alcohol cleaning solution, and I use this for loads and loads of things. It's what I use to clean a lot of the machine down in the first place. It's really good for cleaning grease off, and it just evaporates away at the end, so it doesn't leave any wet residue. So that is excellent stuff to use for your cleaning machines. But this one, I've been cleaning it pretty regular, so it's not too bad. It just needs a bit of a wipe down, that's all. Clean that as well. Now, if your machine hasn't been done for some time, you may need to get some of this cleaning solution, this alcohol, and an old toothbrush. This is an old toothbrush that I use, and just give it a good clean in there. And actually, it doesn't hurt to give it a bit of a brush down anyway, because you probably find you get a few fibres from your yarn. So just brush it down the way the grooves go. But it's not that long since I've done this one, so we should be okay here. And then I'm going to wipe the grease off this as well. And then I'll do the inside as well. Might as well do a proper job of it. So clean where all those moving parts go. Needs a good old clean. You see how much muck comes off. So a good wipe down, and then we're going to start reapplying the oil. So like I say, I use this sewing machine oil, and it works a treat. And remember to put your paper down underneath, because you will get drips coming down, and you don't want to be spoiling your flooring. So goodly amount of grease under there. And you can sit this back on top. Yeah, that just sits on there. It doesn't screw on. It just sits on there nicely, and it will just pick up from the carriage again. And then we're going to start putting it back together. So what we're going to do is wipe down. I do use a lot of our kitchen roll with this cleaning, so make sure you've got plenty of tissue to wipe all these bits and pieces down. So give them a good old clean. And then we're going to put some grease back into there where that came from, just in this side here. It'll help if I took the lid off. All where that part is going to be moving up and down, put some grease in. And remember how this went. Make sure you get it up the right way. And that sits in there like that. Just sits inside and slides up and down. So with this one, I have to turn it around so you can see. No, I'll turn it back around so I can screw it in. So this one goes on this side, and this is the centre part where they both join together. So that goes back through there, and it will sit nice and flush on the inside. So I'm going to have to turn it back around here so I can get that screw back in there. So hold it into the back, make sure you get both the parts, and just do that screw back up again. And the other one, which is hiding behind there. So tighten those screws up nice and tight, not overly tight, don't put pressure on anything anyway. And then we want the second one in. So give that a wipe down. Both parts. And then that one's going to sit in this side. So the gap will be at the front, right in the middle, and we're going to oil that part behind, where everywhere that moves needs to be oiled. And then we're going to put this part together, and it will sit that way, and this goes and slides up and down like that. So we put that, hold the two parts together because they're not attached, they're just sliding parts. So put that in that hole. And make sure it's nice and snug. See how they just fit together in the centre there. My hands are in the way a bit, but I'm kind of working backwards at this part. So I'm going to have to bring that round to the front, holding on to it, so it doesn't drop out, and get those two screws in. You just put them both in loosely until you know it's lined up properly. Just start them off. And the other one. So hopefully by watching me do this, and I'm by no means a professional at this, this is still all very new to me, but hopefully when you see me do this and you see really how easy it is to do, it'll give you the confidence to go ahead and do yours. So that's both those parts in now. And you just check that they both work. Go one way for this side, make sure it comes up nicely, and then go back round and you'll see that the other side will come up. So we know they're all working nicely now. And now we're going to work on this part here. So we'll give this a wipe down. And there's the wing nut for it. And we'll put some oil behind here as well. Everywhere that has a moving part, we're going to put oil. And we'll squirt a bit in, just in there for safe measure. And remember, you need to put your paper down so you don't get a whole lot of mess on your floor. So that just slots in there, as you'll see from that side. And when it comes round, it's come out this side, and we just need to put that wing nut on. Holding on to it at the back so it doesn't drop out. And that's that part done. Now we're going to put our cylinder back in. So we're going to put some oil around the bottom, all around that bottom edge. And we're going to put our cylinder in, which needs to line up with the two holes on the bottom so we can get our screws back in. Nicely lined up, that's good. And the second one. And give them a tighten up with the screwdriver. Both sides, make sure they're tight. Nice and tight, firmly tight, but not over tight. And then the next thing we're going to do, which is the final part of the oiling, is we're going to oil around this part here where this clamp goes around. We're going to oil in that groove so it all runs down the bottom where the needles work. So we're going to oil all around there, and by doing it down here you're not going to get it all on your yarn because your yarn is all up the top end here. So we're just going to oil all the way around. Don't be afraid of putting the oil down there, it's not going to do any harm. Just remember you will have some drips coming out the bottom. So final wipe of that, and then So that's that, all oiled up, all nice and clean, and then you simply just put your needles back in and put your needle clamp on, and then that's all ready to go, ready to work your new socks. It all works nice and smoothly. So I hope that was helpful for you. Please subscribe and click the little bell notification so you get notified when I bring out more videos, because I shall bring more videos out on these lovely old sock knitting machines. Give it a thumbs up so I know that there's somebody watching and I'm not just talking to myself, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.